Hello and welcome back to the Volume Vegan Cooking Channel. Here is one of our favorite weeknight meals, the Buddha Bowl. Buddha Bowls are a staple in vegan eating. They're a great way to use up some of the ingredients laying around in your fridge or pantry. They're so versatile. They're usually made up of a grain element, a veggie element, a protein element, and a sauce. I recently did a video on my channel that was a tour of my kitchen, and I went through my pantry and my fridge and my spice rack, which inspired me to make a bowl to get rid of some of the things that have been in there for a while. Tonight's Buddha Bowl is going to feature quinoa, kale, and lentils with a creamy Miso-Tahini sauce. This is just the first of many of these types of meals that you'll see on my channel. Let's get started. The first thing that I did was start my kale, but I seem to have lost my footage or forgotten to record this step, so I preheated my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I rinsed my pre-chopped fresh kale down and added it to a large mixing bowl so I could drizzle a little olive oil over it. I had a lot of kale, so I massaged the olive oil into the leaves with my hands to help them wilt down a bit before adding them to my roasting pan and roasting all of it for about 15 minutes. Then I started my quinoa. I'm using this red quinoa. I rinsed it down in a strainer before adding it to a pot of water. A good rule of thumb is to use a 2-to-1 ratio, so twice the water to the amount of quinoa that you're cooking. Cover it, bring it to a boil, turn down the heat to medium to keep it bubbling and steaming as the quinoa absorbs the water. I turn the heat off once I can no longer see any water bubbles popping, about 20 minutes in, and then I just allow it to continue to steam on that eye on my stove while I continue to prep the rest of my ingredients. I emptied my can of lentils into a strainer and rinsed them off really good, and then added them to this small pot, just barely covering them with some fresh water, and I added in a couple of bay leaves before bringing the pot to a small simmer to just heat the lentils through. If you're using dried lentils, this step will take a little bit longer. Now I'm going to make my sauce. This sauce is one that I use a lot. It's one I got from one of my favorite recipe authors that I've already spoken about on my channel and will bring up many more times, Isa Chandra Moskowitz. This is her Miso-Tahini sauce from her roasty soba bowl recipe. It's very simple. I'm starting with a 1/4 cup of white miso and a 1/4 cup of tahini, and honestly, I'm just eyeballing both of these. Both miso and tahini are very hard to get in and out of measuring cups, like peanut butter. Miso is very, very salty, so I might go a little heavier with the tahini if it tastes too salty to me. Isa's recipe calls for a clove of garlic, but since I'm using a garlic tahini, I'm just going to leave that step out. And 1/2 cup of water, more if you need it to be a little bit thinner. And blend it. This sauce is so good. Funny story though, I often have my tahini nacho cheese that the recipe is up on my channel currently. I usually have that in my fridge in these little magic bullet containers. And 2 times while I had this batch of leftover Miso-Tahini sauce in my fridge, I absent-mindedly grabbed it and put it in my food thinking it was cheese, giving me an interesting flavor experience both times. An unexpected one at that. One morning, for breakfast, I had cauliflower grits with tempeh bacon and Miso-Tahini dressing. Another day I was having some chili leftovers, and instead of having that lovely nacho cheese on top, it was Miso-Tahini on top of my chili. I don't waste food, so I did eat it, but both of those meals were something. Both of them were something. I recommend keeping your miso-tahini sauce in something that isn't so familiar to the eye. It's not that it isn't delicious, but it's definitely not cheese. And maybe it's not for breakfast. And here is my bowl, and here is how I keep it low calorie. This is more of a kale salad than a Buddha bowl, if I'm being honest. I put a very small scoop of quinoa in at the bottom, maybe 1/8 of a cup. And then I piled in all of this amazing roasted kale so that the bowl is almost full. And then I sprinkled about 1/4 cup of the drained lentils on top. Lentils are very high in carbs, at 23 grams for 1/2 cup. So I'm using them as more of a garnish than as the star of the show because I have plenty of protein in the quinoa and even more in the sauce because tahini is made from sesame seeds. I drizzled the sauce over top and then I sprinkled a little dried dill weed on top. I added some green onion because that is what I do, and some sriracha on top because I also do that. Making your greens the biggest part of your meal means you can turn almost any meal into a volume eating experience. This was delicious, nutritious, filling, and guilt-free. I would usually use broccoli or cauliflower instead of kale, but I've been having a lot of broccoli and cauliflower lately, so I mixed it up. Thank you so much for checking out another one of my cooking videos. I hope that it helps when you are thinking of, what to have for dinner this week, especially while you're so busy getting ready for the holiday weekend. Please like and share my video with your friends. Get in the comments and tell me what you think. And of course, please subscribe to my channel while you're here. Turn on those notifications so you never miss another one of my cooking videos. Have a wonderful week. I hope you eat really good today. And I'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.